Hope everybody is doing good tonight, today, this morning, this evening, whenever you might be watching this. I have some cards that I'm going to open up. I'm going to do the Stadium Club tonight. I know everyone's seen a million breaks of Stadium Club, but I really like the cards. Want to put together at least a base set, and that's the first time I want to do that in a long time. I also have a box of movies next to me that I'm just going to grab a few and talk about. There's probably like 60 in this box. I'm only going to do maybe 4 or 5. I'll briefly go over. And I also have some books that I think are good for anybody who's interested in movies and maybe digging a little bit deeper than, what Disney's putting out or Warner Brothers. This is The Dark Power, which I haven't seen in a long time. This is from 84 or 85? 85, so this is this tape's from 87 though. It's just a Poltergeist ripoff. The old Indian chief has kept watch on an ancient burial ground for all of his life. He hadn't expected blah, 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 blah. Real estate developers build a new home on his tribe's cemetery. So, it is pretty much Poltergeist. And by the way, this is the first role of the Orioles' first baseman, Chris Davis. This is him on the cover. Originally, he was slated to play Rocky Dennis in the Mask movie, the Peter Bogdanovich movie. Michael J. Fox was originally supposed to play him, and he decided to do... Eric Stoltz decided to do Mask over Back to the Future, or he didn't get the role in Back to the Future, and then Chris Davis came in, and they were like, sorry dude, you're too weird looking. We're just going to go with Eric Stoltz, put a bunch of makeup on him. So, cool little piece of Orioles history there. So a few of these books I think are worth looking at. One in particular, great. I got this in college. I took it out and I never returned it. Not on purpose. I was just had other things on my mind when I was 18, 19 years old than returning books. I should bring it back. But this was outdated when I took it out. This is from 1990. I think this is probably one of the better... I can't say now because I don't know what's out now, but at the time was one of the better introductory books on movies, and the way they give you examples, and even the very first... there's a picture here I want to cover up. I don't know. Everybody knows it. It's got some nudity in it. It's a picture of Hearts and Minds, the documentary, and it's the Agent Orange, I think, the kids running down the street. But even this little chart here of a film, like reading that for the first time was a pretty big deal. Knowing, Hearts and Minds, this is Hearts and Minds, about the Vietnam War. And then all the way in avant-garde you have Allure, which is pretty much just close-up photography of bubbles and shapes. I remember in the middle you have Mr. Ego's Town. Class. This is where your Marvel, your Star Wars, all that type of stuff goes. And then, that was a big deal for me, seeing that. But this is a really good book. Like I said, it has lots of examples. And let's see what else. This one, too. Really... this is probably outdated. 4th edition, the Screenwriter's Bible. It's, even if you're not interested in writing, it will make writing better for you when you're watching a movie. Can I see what year this is from? I think probably 2004, 5. 2005. This is from 2005. I think the worst part about this book and the most outdated is probably the selling of the script, maybe even the formatting, since Final Draft and all these, there's a million programs that will do it for you. But I think the examples and what makes that particular up is that being too graphic on screen. The examples in this are really good. This is a cool book, Making Movies by John Russo. I think John Russo was the assistant director to George Romero in Night of the Living Dead. This is a lot of anecdotes, not a ton, and it is dated, very dated. I probably wouldn't recommend this book, actually. That was a mistake on my part. This, I'm not gonna go for this. That's way too outdated. I have two more, and then I'll open up these cards. This is the classics of the silent screen. This, when I got this, my goal was to go through every movie in here, and I didn't end up doing it because a lot of them, as important as they may be, and some of these aren't that important. At least as the Joe Franklin, whatever this is, makes them out to be. It gets tough going through, how many hundreds of movies there are in this, and as well as finding it's tough even with all the streaming services to get them. But Wings, 1927. If you ever want to see where George Lucas, frame for frame, takes stuff from Wings, and you could see it in Star Wars. Pirate movies were huge back then. Scarlet Letter. I don't know if I've seen this version of the Scarlet Letter. I don't think I did. I love the book, Lost World. But it's, if you want like a good primer on silent films, this is really good. And this one is probably the best of the movie-related books I have at arm's length, pretty much. When I got my first camera, this was what I was told you have to get. 5 C's of cinematography. My cat is absolutely annihilated it. It's super dry. This is like, I don't know. It's just very dry, and it goes through shot, how to frame, how to shoot your movie. And again, even if you're not interested in making movies, it still will give you a new set of eyes when watching them, I guess. But this is, like I said, super dry. This is probably the best of them, but one of the harder to get through. But and some of these, pretty much everything in here is still valid. Even with because this came out, I think, in the 60s originally. Let me see. 1965, and it still holds up. Even with the digital, how things are now, a close-up shot is still a close-up shot. So I think they're really good books worth looking at if you, like I said, you want new eyes when you're watching movies. And a lot of times, I think what unfortunately happens is that once you have new eyes on something, the thing you're looking at can, as much as it can improve whatever it is, it can also hurt it. I'm trying to find a razor to open up these cards. Yes, I can be fooled. Alright. Also, really quickly, I think I got like 186 subscribers now, and I know that's like nothing in the world of YouTube. Like, I see people who don't have videos and they have 3 times as many subs that I do, and that's okay. I would rather have a few subs and interesting and cool people to talk to than 1,000 subs or 1,000,000 subs and nobody. Actually, I would like to have 1,000,000 subs so I could make some money. But I just want to say thank you to anybody who watches the crap that I put out. It's oftentimes very therapeutic for me to do these, and it's. I had a conversation with somebody not that long ago about clubs, how clubs are kind of dead. The only, there's like around me, the only clubs I know of, and I'm sure there are quite a few, and I know in college there are clubs stuff, but for adults, particularly men who are, 25 to 35 years old, there's like, where I am, off the top of my head, there's a ham radio club and like a metal detecting club, which I'm not part of. But clubs used to be like a thing. Like it was a way to have fun. And when you don't have the internet, you don't have cell phones. Everybody had their clubs or whatever. This to me is the community that forms around these channels feels like a club to me more than anything. And it's nice. It's nice to be part of that and to see something cool forming that isn't just like the crap you see on like Breakers TV, just dudes gambling their life away on baseball card breaks. And I just wanted to say, if you watch my videos, I appreciate it more than you realize. So how many packs is 2, 4? We were talking about also clubs and the looking for arrowheads is something I do for a hobby with a friend of mine, and it's a dying hobby. It's dying for multiple reasons. One of them is because the land is just being developed so quickly that I think it's like 10% of all sites get lost every year, and there's gonna be I can't even imagine how many sites where I am are lost in the past 5 years. But there used to be a club for arrowheads around here. It's gone. There's the only people that were left were like 2 old men who are dead. We also talk about in regards to UFOs and something called liars clubs that used to exist in smaller towns. People, would do just what it sounds like. They would be in these liars clubs. They would tell stories and they'd make them up and try to trick people. I believe there's a book called Liars Club about that. And we were wondering in regards to UFOs and things like that, particularly in the 50s and 60s, how much of that type of crap just, boredom and having fun accounted for versus, malicious trickery. But hopefully I'll have a good UFO related video next week. I'm hoping to do it tomorrow, but every time I go to do it, plans fall through, but it should be fun. Anyways, Chris Taylor, Gary Sanchez. I was gonna say with this Tatis Jr. rookie, usually with these cards, if somebody wants them, they can have them. These I kind of want to keep, but if there is something you really want, you let me know. Hosmer. DD Gordon, why I'm not sure why they call him Sir DD. I missed that. Jim Palmer, that's a great picture. Trey Turner, Sandy Koufax. All my uncles, they love Sandy Koufax. Juan Soto. I have not got a hit in a long time, I feel like. Hank Aaron. I was watching a video today. I got an email from somebody about a Mo Vaughn card as I was watching. Stumbled upon I know it's like a meme, but the reason I like Mo Vaughn so much is because he's a genuinely nice person, and he does a lot of good for a lot of people. That's cool. Z. Gordon. Alex Bregman Red. I think I have this already. If I do, someone can have it if they want it. Bob Gibson. Mo Vaughn does a lot of good for a lot of people. And I was watching, I just happened to stumble upon a video of him and Frank Thomas from like maybe, I don't know, recent, like within the last few weeks, promoting his line of big and tall clothes, Mo's MVP line, because he was MVP in 1995. And you know who doesn't have a line of clothing called MVP? Albert Bell. If he did, it would just be orange jumpsuits. Max Scherzer, but it was really cool listening to Frank Thomas and Mo Vaughn talk about hitting then versus hitting now, and the way they viewed average. Have it, you know, Vaughn says something like, if you're in 290, you know, you're in big trouble. Like you need to bring your average up. Now it's like you 250. You know, everyone's hitting home runs. Maybe I'll link the video down at the bottom because they're really good together. Thomas and Mo Vaughn. Strasburg. Piazza. I'm not a Piazza fan. I think I have one of those already, so if anybody wants a Piazza Stadium Club card, let me know. Tomorrow is Cedric Mullins. Tomorrow I'm going to hopefully make it to the flea market to get the boxes for the breaks. And I was actually thinking about doing other types of breaks too, like free breaks by the pack, but that's going to end up costing me a friggin' fortune in shipping. So Freddie Freeman, I don't think I'm going to do that. Vladimir Guerrero. Daddy Guerrero. Cody Bellinger, Sepia. Carlos Correa. Trey Mancini. Love JD Martinez. Alex Bregman. David Dahl. And Starlin Marte. The video, I mentioned it briefly before, the UFO paranormal related video will be an interview, fairly long interview, with a friend of mine who's a paranormal researcher and been on Ancient Aliens and Travel Channel and a million other TV shows and movies, and a fairly big movie that's coming out soon about UFOs. I don't really believe in most of that, and I don't think he does either, but it's still fun to talk about. I think it's more interesting to talk about why do people believe it. And one of the things I wanted him to talk about is there's a lot of mental illness in the paranormal community. Lots of schizophrenia. I'll wait till the interview. I don't want to say too much, and I don't want to be insulting because I very, very easy. What the hell? Oh, that's the black parallel. Is it numbered? No. But there is a lot of mental illness in the paranormal community. Which kind of messes up, I don't know, muddies the waters even more. Chris Hale. I want to talk about the Bob Lazar stuff, because Bob Lazar is a thing now, again. And then recently he had this big, the movie come out, it's popular on Netflix right now, and I gotta turn this in case there's some boobs. Kyle Wright, rookie. Johnny Bench. This card is amazing. Wait, is this? Yeah, this is it's a Stadium Club Chrome. I love that, man. It's nice. And Michael Fulmer. Actually, I kind of want to do that leather and lumber right now. Let's do it. Screw it. We're at 20 minutes. Bob Lazar has become popular again, even though he was So he has a documentary that just came out on Netflix and Prime, and that got really hot and picked up a lot of steam. And then he was on Joe Rogan's podcast with the guy who directed it. The movie's absolute garbage and full of half-truths, and it's just really not good. They briefly touch on some of the criticism that can't show that he's got, but they never really do go into it. Sorry, the other guy that was involved with it, George Knapp, the journalist from, I think he's out in Vegas. He had a heavy hand in that, and his story and the Skinwalker Ranch story, which is absolutely garbage. And it's not only is it garbage, it's we're going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch in that video, but it's also whoa, what the hell? Hold on a second. Okay. I guess I got mixed up. Ricky Henderson. I absolutely love Ricky Henderson. In that Mo Vaughn Frank Thomas interview, they were talking about Henderson. They were talking about showboating now versus showboating then. How before you showboated, it pissed people off, but now it's a different story. But Ricky Henderson was the only guy that could showboat, and everybody kind of was like, okay, it's just Ricky Henderson. Otani, Joe DiMaggio, A-Rod, trash that, and fastest man alive. Alright, so this is a hit. This is a giant hit. Jeez. The thing is thick. Miguel Cabrera, Rosario, Rhys Hoskins, and our hit is... okay. I mean, it's a nice looking card. Alright. Anyways, I don't know why you got my hopes up for that. I don't know. So, some movies. There's one right up there. Not everybody's seen, but most people have seen it. American Werewolf in London. This is the Vestron release. Fantastic. One of the best. It has some of the best dialogue and dialogue delivery of any movie I've ever seen. I believe his son, John Landis' son, Max Landis, who I cannot stand, is doing a remake of it. But I know he's had a lot of sexual harassment allegations leveled against him, so I don't know if that still happened, but he is an insufferable human being if you ever watch Max Landis stuff. But I think John Landis did Twilight Zone right after this, when I can't remember the name of the actor and the two kids that died on set in the helicopter crash. But the special effects on this, the wolf at the end is okay. When it's going through, is a Piccadilly Circus or a square, whatever it is. But this scene, what's so good about the scene is how abrupt it is. He's reading the book, and I think is it Blue Moon playing, and he just starts screaming and ripping his clothes off. And it's not like a slow transformation; it happens really, really fast. And then you have like the weird dream sequence type stuff, and it's a weird, funny, extremely well written, well acted movie. John Landis is fantastic. Video Dead, 1987, really super ultra low budget movie about a cursed TV that zombies come out of, and that's pretty much it. It's very, very 80s comedy horror. If anybody wants a copy of this, let me know. It's hard to. You can get it on. I think Scream Factory did a release a few years back, and then there's like a double feature one with TerraVision, which is also an awesome horror movie from the '80s. It's really stylish and goofy and weird. I think it's on Prime. But if anybody wants a copy of it, not a physical copy, a digital copy, then let me know and I can email you a link. I'll upload it to my Google Drive and you can just download it right from me. They said very low budget. I know it was when there was supposed to be a sequel to it, but it didn't do well enough to warrant one. And when they made it, it wasn't gory enough, so they had to. The studio sent it back, gave them a bunch more money. I believe like half the cost of the actual original budget of the movie, to go back and make it more gory. This is a weird feel to it. This kind of I don't know how to. I guess ethereal, misty, 80s suburban feel. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm not smart enough to, but it has a very creepy feel to me for some reason. And speaking of ethereal and dreamy and misty, Company of Wolves, starring Angela Lansbury. This is Neil Jordan did this. He did Crying Game. He did Interview with a Vampire. I think that some of the costumes from this are used in Interview with a Vampire. So, like, one of the stories deals with, like, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but it was like French aristocrats or something like that, and they turn into pigs, I believe, as they're eating, and I think those are the costumes that were eventually used in Interview with a Vampire. This scene is amazing. It's so gross and it's so creepy. Unique styles, far beyond American Wolfen. I'm not a Wolfen fan. Company of Wolves. I'm not sure who did the special effects for it. It's probably Stan Winston. I don't know. It kind of looks like his type of special effects. See what it says here. Can't see it. It's a very cool, like I said, very dreamy, very 80s, and it's very British as well. It's very European. I thought Angela Lansbury was dead until recently. I had no idea. So this movie, I can't say much about it, except that it's called The Crippled Masters. Two crippled brothers, one indestructible force, revenge against all odds. I have not seen this movie in years. I don't know who released this. This is like a re-release from the 90s. Yeah, 90s. Oh, this is New Line. You can see in this picture, the guy with no legs is on the back of the guy with no arms. Kind of like Voltron, they come together and form. Dude's getting choked by the foot. I haven't seen this in so long, so I can't say anything about it, but it is... I don't think anybody does. It's called The Crippled Masters, and you see, the cover kind of tells you everything you need. This is probably I think this is the last movie I'll do tonight, because this video is already half hour long, and it's late. The stuff, I talked about some Star Maker stuff before in one of my older videos, but there was like 17 people I had for subs at the time, so I don't mind going over them again and stuff. This is a great Larry Cohen movie. What year did this come out? I'm going to guess like 84 or so. This tape says 90, but Larry Cohen died recently, and I think on Shudder, which is this horror streaming service, I think they have all the Larry Cohens. And I don't know where my cat is. Sorry. He's hiding somewhere. The stuff, it's about a food that you eat and become addicted to, and kind of is like a parasitic thing. Michael Moriarty, is it Moriarty? Moriarty. Paul Sorvino is in this as like a militia leader. Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live. Larry Cohen did It's Alive. He did Q the Winged Serpent. Bone. What else did he do? God Told Me to Kill. Guerrilla filmmaker, did a lot of, like when they did Q the Winged Serpent, they were like using real ammunition on the top of the Empire State Building. It was all falling down on people. Really fun, weird. It's not a Blob ripoff. It's as a kid I always thought it was a Blob ripoff, but it's not. And yeah, I think that's it for now. It's getting late, and this video's already 30 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed it, and tomorrow hopefully the flea market works out, and I can go get a bunch of stuff and open some more things and talk about more of these movies. Yeah, and that's it. Thanks for watching, and have a good night or day or whatever.